So, hi guys. I don't know what's inspiring this Hausa outfit, but I feel it's cute. So, welcome to my YouTube channel, guys. How are we all doing? Hi, guys, and welcome to my YouTube channel. So, in today's vlog, I'm going to be telling you pros and cons. That's too much English. Okay, I'm going to be sharing with you all the advantages and the disadvantages of staying in the school hostel. I want to check on my mic. So the advantages and disadvantages of staying in the university hostel. And then because if you're not staying in the university hostel, apparently you're staying off campus or in the lodge, right? Yeah. So let's get right into the video. First and foremost, if you're ever considering staying in the university hostel when you get admission into school, or maybe because you're in school, I think this video is for you, right? And if you're not a fan of staying in the university hostel, should I know this? And if you're not a fan of staying in the university hostel, if you're not a fan of staying in the university hostel, this video is also for you, right? So that you find out what you're missing or what you're not missing, and then you decide to stay where you are or move to some other place, right? Yeah. So we're going to start first with checking out the university hostel, right? So obviously every university has an accommodation they usually provide for their students, right? Be it private university, federal universities. But because I'm in a federal university, I'm going to be talking out of my experience as a finalist or an undergraduate in a federal university, right? So when you think of the hostel accommodation in a federal university or in my school, you should think of accommodation. You should think of privacy. mm? Think of privacy, think of security, think of light, constant light, and constant water, right? So we're going to be analyzing or talking about the university hostel, considering these things. First and foremost, I say think of privacy, think of security, think of constant light, and think of constant water as well. Then, if other things come up, I'll still let you know. Okay, yeah, we should also think of hygiene. Yeah, think of hygiene as well, because that is very, 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 very important if you ask me, right? So yeah, so as it regards privacy, we're going to be looking at privacy now. You know, if you're ever thinking of getting into the university and thinking of a space where you're going to stay or your accommodation and considering privacy, then the university hostel is not for you, especially if that hostel accommodation does not permit a room to an occupant. Do you get, like, let's say an individual staying in a particular room. Do you get? Then don't think of the hostel, because if you stay in the hostel, say no to privacy. Like, for real, say no to privacy. Privacy is when you're answering your calls. Let's say you've been served one kind very hot, my neighbors. Let's say you've been served a very hot breakfast, and then you're going through your moment of heartbreak, or you're trying to recover from anything, and then you're now speaking with, let's say, your partner or whoever. And obviously, because of distance now, you can't bring in the opposite sex into the your room now. So let's say you're trying to get over these things or talk about it. Don't even consider the hostel at all. It may not even be relationship matters, though. You just want to have your space. Most times you just come back from school or after having a very busy, hectic day, and you just want to jump into your bed, pull off your clothes, relax, think straight. Not in the hostel at all, for any reason. Not in the hostel. That moment when, especially as a lady or as a female, you're on your period, or you're observing your monthly cycle, and maybe you're the type that likes hiding or keeping everything to yourself. Is a lie. As that period has come, all your roommates will know. And the way the university hostel is structured in my school, you have occupants from first year to final year, right? 4 people in one room. So you have your the first year roommate, your second year roommate, your third year roommate, and then yourself as a finalist or your final year roommate. Especially if you're in any other year that is not the final year, right? And then you're thinking that when you come into this room, first of all, your first year roommate will be there to show first year characters. And you know how first year roommates can be. They're just new to the school environment and everything goes for them, right? Unlike the second year roommate that is trying to adjust to the realities of first year, and your third year roommate that has already adjusted, that one's just an OG in school. And then your fourth, final year roommate, sorry, that is already on her way out and she's already bored and tired of seeing people and the school and is just in a hurry to leave. And then you have these different people with different ambitions in one room. Hmm. Privacy. You may want to read, especially as a finalist or your third year, or you just have a test, or you just like book, you just want to read, or you have a test, or you have an assignment that needs maximum concentration. And here is your first year roommate with her friends that visited, or your first year roommate busy causing nuisance. And it could be anybody, it may not even be necessarily first year because some first year roommates are even mature more than the other years, right? So privacy in every aspect is zero. It is zero. It is zero. Where will we even start from? Okay, you're the type that just likes your space, you just like your corner, like it's not like you're beefing anybody, you just want to be by yourself. You can't even try it in the hostel because everybody just assumes immediately that this one be like say she gets squine on her head though, or maybe she's feeling too big or something. Do you get most times you just having, let's say, that moment where you don't want to talk, you just want to be all by yourself. It's not possible because one way or the other, your roommates, your friends will interfere. Even if it's not your roommates, your friends in the hostel will just interfere. And maybe you're the type that you're trying to manage yourself and manage everything about you in school. And then you already have pocket money on a budget, you have food on a budget. You now want to cook and only you will eat. The type of facial expression you get from people first will look like it's like you want to eat and die alone, right? Except you're the type that you're just mean, you don't care, and it doesn't mean anything to you. Like you just want to be all by yourself. All I need is that as long as the hostel is concerned, anything you want to start in the hostel, make sure you start it and finish it to the end. Do you get? You just have to be that determined. Don't seem like you start something. Let's say you're the type that just likes um being all by herself. um don't collect anything from me, I won't give you anything. Do you get? And then suddenly along the line one day you now decide to borrow something from your roommate. Remember you were just giving that whole attitude of I like my space, and then suddenly you now want to start liking other people's space and borrowing things. You may not just be able to cope with whatever comes after that, right? So I've spoken too much on privacy. I think I'll move over to security now. Now, if you're staying in the school hostel, I think your security is 100% guarantees, right? Even though no security is 100% guaranteed, because a lot of times you have incidents of security breaches in the hostel, right? But as long as it's the university hostel, I think there is maximum security there. I think because why? The school security is always on guard around the hostel areas, morning, afternoon, and night, right? And you know, in the hostel, you don't fight. Like there are a lot of rules and regulations regarding security. You don't fight in the hostel because if you fight in the hostel, the school security will have to come and arrest you, right? You don't even have to do anything that has to warrant the school security coming around because ah, that will be the end of the story you would wish never began in the first place, right? So that's just it about security. You have like in my hostel we have hall supervisors, we have some other elderly men and women that are always on rotation. That's they're on duty in the hostel. So anytime you have any complaints, you have any security challenges, you can easily just walk up to them or go downstairs and talk to them about it, right? And then they help you resolve those things. And you know, it's more like the school is responsible for you, right? So if anything happens to you while you're in the hostel, the school has to answer for it, right? Now we move on to constant light and security. A lot of times in the hostel, you're already assured of light and security, except in extreme cases, especially when, let's say, for example, in my school, there is there's light issue. You know, most times there could be total blackouts in a state, and if there's total blackout in a state, is your school Canaan land that there will be light only in your school and there is no light in the whole state? Do you get? Yeah. So when there's now Assurance of constant light and security is when your school has a standby generator that could easily be powered on when there is no light, like there's blackout, total blackout in that state, or let's say in that local government, right? Then your school or your hostel is assured of security and light, right? So that's the beautiful thing about light and security. And once there's light, there's there's assurance of water, because a lot of times you just need electricity to pump water, right? So that's the beautiful thing about it. And lastly, no, let me not say lastly, because I may just remember one thing along the line. So if you ever consider staying in the hostel, just know that your hygiene is zero. Like your hygiene, you can't even do anything about it, is zero. Because a lot of times, it's not even a lot of times, if you're staying in the hostel, you're using a general public toilet. And if you're the type that does not even like public toilet for any reason at all, you better get used to it, or just better get ready to start getting used to it, because you're staying in the hostel, right? When I was in the hostel, okay, myself, my course is a 5 year course, so I spent 4 years in the university hostel from my first year to my fourth year, and then in my fifth year, which is my final year, I moved to off-campus accommodation, which we popularly know as lodge, right? Yeah. So hygiene is zero. Like you just come from your home, where even at home your mom is very keen on, let the toilet be neat, let the bedroom be neat, let the house be neat, and you're coming from that place where you've been maintaining yourself and maintaining hygiene, and coming to an environment where hygiene is zero. What do I mean by hygiene zero? Although there are cleaners in the hostel, right? Even if the cleaner cleans the toilet and the bedroom in the morning, the person has to come back the following morning, right? So what happens between that morning when the person is done cleaning till night, right? What happens that period is that exact period where you can contact anything contactable, even when it is even neat at all. Because why not? There's some people that don't just have discipline. And some people that are not even keen on hygiene, just like you yourself you are. So they just mess up the toilet, they mess up the bedroom, and yourself, you go there, you're trying to manage yourself. And that's why people contact a lot of diseases and infections, especially infections. People contact a lot of toilet and bedroom infections while in the university hostel. I know I once treated an infection I think in my first year. That was even in my first year, like my earliest. I treated an infection. And when I went to the medical center to treat myself, I remember the lab scientist. I'm sorry if you're hearing any noise. I remember the lab scientist kept on telling me you have to be very keen on your hygiene. You have to use disinfectant. You have to use the towel. You have to use jig. You have to use, because we have a bucket where you just pee as an individual. But imagine peeing inside a bucket, a particular bucket, for 1 week, for 2 weeks, for 1 month. I mean, it's very bad. If you're just keen on hygiene, please just avoid the hostel. And if you're avoiding the hostel, ensure that even where you're going to, the off-campus accommodation you're going to, or the lodge you're going to, is also neat, or you can also maintain it. Do you get? So that's just it about hygiene in the hostel, security and light in the hostel. What else? Privacy as well. And I think the beautiful thing about my school hostel is that we have Wi-Fi, right? So a lot of times you don't even bother about subscribing, because there is constant Wi-Fi powered by solar, so that even if there is no lights, you have solar, right, to keep on powering the Wi-Fi, which everybody in the hostel is entitled to, right? So that's just the beautiful thing about the beautiful things and the ugly things about the hostel. So now comparing the hostel to your off-campus accommodation, privacy is what again? Because tell me, you stay in your off-campus accommodation. Most times, off-campus accommodations are shared apartments, right? So it depends on the type of apartment you want. You may just want a shared apartment. You may want a room to yourself, like you just want a one-room apartment or two-bedroom apartment, right? Myself, I stay in a one-room apartment that has my toilet. It has it has my toilet and bedroom, right? And it also has my kitchen, and I have a balcony as well. And then I have my room to myself. So that even when I come back any day from school or come back from anywhere, I just fling my bag, I pull off my clothes, I turn on my fan, and tell me, I think straight, like my privacy. I can't even come and start telling someone, please, I'm sorry, can we reduce your voice? I'm reading, or please, you're cooking now. Because obviously when you're in this in the hostel, if your roommate is cooking and you're not cooking, you know that kind of heat that comes with cooking food. You just be forced to have your bath, or you just forced to step out of the room. Do you get? So I just do anything I want to do. Nobody decides. Okay, I think you're shifting, like you're exceeding your space. You're coming to my space. You're this. You're that. I could even stay in my room as long as there's light, there's Wi-Fi, there's water, there's food. I can stay in this room for a whole day. I'm not even bothered about what's going on outside, because I mean I'm comfortable, right? It's unlike that in the university hostel though, because if there's no water, you have to start going around the whole school to look for where to get water. If there's no light, that's even worse, because heat. Imagine four people in one room and it's just one window, right? Heat will disturb you. And even if you have food and there's no water, what will you use to cook? You just be hungry, like you just be frustrated. It's not even funny at all though. But the lodge life is very beautiful, it's very nice, privacy is top notch. What else? Security depends on your lodge anyway. Most times a lot of lodges contribute money, get a security personnel, a security guard to secure them. For example, my own lodge, we have a security guy that secures my lodge. So we pay him, and security has been very beautiful and nice here, right? We have constant light and water because we have a standby generator. So even if there is no light in the entire school, or there is no light in the in town or in the state, we could just easily power our generator, standby generator, and at least we have light for a duration of time, right? And as long as there is light, obviously there is water. We already have water. I have running water in my toilet. I have running water in my bedroom. I have running water in my kitchen as well. So when I'm just not using the toilet, I just flush it. I want to have my bath, I just get into the shower. Most times I come back from school, my head is hot, like very, very hot. I just pull up my clothes, get into the shower, and just get my head very cool and calm, right? And then my kitchen as well. I'm done using anything, I wash it off. I want to use anything, I wash it, I clean. Like it's very beautiful. You could not tell me all these things all this while, and I've been managing the hostel since first day to 40. Don't mind me. So that's it about constant light, security, privacy. What again? Hygiene. If you get into my toilet, you see two cans of Dettol. I think there's hypo or jig there. There is also what do they call it? Oh, English. There's also a wash there, right? I don't joke with my toilet too. I don't joke with it. I even have a toilet brush there. And I love it because I know it's just myself using that toilet. Do you get? So I just get into that toilet, I use it, I wash it very, very well. It's clean, it's sparkling, everything. Very nice. I rarely have visitors that come around and want to use my toilet. Like, what? And you know, most times when you go to toilets and you want to use the toilet, or when you're using the toilet, you get a lot of ideas and inspiration. You can't even try that in the school hostel. Like you're there and you're scared for your life. But here, hmm, I can sit there and an idea comes into my head. I just get out of there, clean up myself, get on my bed, jot down things, write down things, implement those ideas. You get? It's very, very beautiful. Like my hygiene is top notch. You know, when you're using water in the school hostel, you have to manage it, because I think time you think of going down to fetch water, coming upstairs to with the water and everything, you just feel like I just have this one bucket. I have to manage it. It's not it here. I'm not managing water here. I'm using it. I'm using it very well, like to my utmost satisfaction, right? I literally watch everything, everything. I don't even have any excuse. Like it's just very beautiful here. So with this viewpoint of mine, I think if you're ever considering getting into the university, or you got admission to get into the university, or you're even in your first year, in your second year, and you're considering, okay, in my third year, in my subsequent years, would I still want to stay in the hostel, or would I want to go off campus? I think you should just watch this video and decide for yourself. You can watch it as an aspirant, right? Or as a parent, you may just be undecided. You may think, okay, and then from my point of view, as a finalist, I think for every parent, for every guardian, for every senior sister or brother, if you want the best for your sibling or for your ward, please, when they get into the university, let them stay in the hostel in their first year. Let them stay in the hostel in their first year, if possible in the second year, except they have a relation or a senior sibling or niece, anybody they can stay with in their first year outside school. Do you get? Because in first year, a lot of people drop out of school in their first year and their second years, mainly because these people get into school, they don't know their left from their right, especially if they didn't even go to a boarding school. Even if they went to boarding schools, there are no exemptions, but people that will be good will actually still be good, right? And then they just get into the university in their first year. Obviously there will be a lot of parties, there will be a lot of parties, there will be a lot of events, there will be a lot of things happening on campus, and these people feel like, university, here I have come, and they want to explore all these activities, and they may just eventually end up getting carried away. And it's very sad because the university will not actually tell you leave. You live by yourself. No university comes and then they tell you leave. You're doing too much. Do you get? You live by yourself in the sense that you eventually just drop out, or eventually just stop attending school, attending classes, and every other person will be thinking, okay, we have a son, we have a daughter in school. Unfortunately, there's nobody in school because that person you think is in school has dropped out or is now disinterested in anything academics. Do you get? And you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know, especially if that person is off campus. That's why it's most times during a lot of holidays, they don't want to come back because most times the girls either end up getting pregnant and they're trying to hide it from their parents or their siblings or anyone, or they've contacted one disease or one STD and they're just living in guilt and in shame and everything, and they don't want their immediate family to recognize this. Do you get? You know you can't be pregnant and be in the university hostel. It will feel so awkward, especially if you're not legally married, right? So please just weigh your options, weigh your options. Most time lodges are expensive. That's why people don't want to go to the lodge, right? But from experience, um out of 100, out of 100, I'll rate the hostel 60%, and I'm going to rate my off-campus experience now 95%, right? Out of experience and everything. So I hope with this video, you've been able to understand and see for yourself and hear from my experience what and how the hostel accommodation feels like and off-campus accommodation also feels like, and you can also decide for yourself, right? So if you've not subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe. If you enjoyed this video, even if you didn't, just give it a thumbs up, like turn on your post notification as well